So it is currently Saturday. We just finished the first week of classes here at UT, and so I figured I would share with you guys 5 things I do every day to stay productive here in music school. So the first thing I use every day is a task list. I personally use Google Tasks, but you could use notes or anything to just jot something down really quickly. So right now I have a few things written down. We didn't get a whole lot of homework this first week, but I have things like Monday reading for music history, learn the Gotkovsky for quartet, things like that. Things that I don't want to have to think about and keep a mental checklist of, but I can just write down here, and so then I don't have to think about it in the moment. But if I need it, I have it right here. I really like the Google Tasks app just because it works really well on iPhone and it goes through all my other devices like my Mac and my iPad really well. I have a little widget here that I can just click on and then add a task. This is really helpful for in class. I can just pull my phone out really quickly and add something. It also translates really well onto my Gmail calendar. It just adds a little slot under what day I have put it due. You can add a little memo for what the task is, add a date, add a time, you can favorite it. I feel like writing things down has really helped lower my stress here in college and just allows me to not have to think about what's coming up. The second thing that I do that relates to my calendar, I have all my classes blocked off, but before each day I will write down like when I'm going to practice. I'll block it off depending on how I'm feeling the day before, and then also when I'm going to eat. It ensures that I block off a time to eat. I know a lot of us in college, it's hard to have lunch. We're always busy, but this just allows me to block off like a 30-minute chunk. It also makes sure I'm getting my practicing in, maybe when I want to go to the gym. It really keeps me accountable for what I'm doing each day, making sure I'm getting enough practice time in. Another reason I really like doing that is just because it keeps me informed with what I have going on the next day. Sometimes you can get lost on what day it is just because there's a lot going on and the days almost feel like 2 days. Oh, this first week of college at UT, man, it feels like every day is split into 2. The days feel so long and I know I just need to get used to it and back into the routine. But blocking things off into my calendar like this has really helped me manage my time and stay productive in this first week of classes. The third thing I do every day, this has really saved me a lot of time here, and I'm really thankful for my studio mates suggesting it. I find that instead of being like, oh, I'm gonna practice for 1 hour, I have a list of 5 things that I want to do. Let's do a page from an overtone book. Let's do scales, X amount of scales. Let's do this piece of repertoire. It's structured very much like a task list rather than I'm gonna practice from 4 to 5:30 p.m. I find that it has allowed me to be a bit more healthier with my time and isn't as toxic. Like, oh, I practice 4 hours a day. It's not about that. It's about what you're getting done and being more efficient with that time in the practice room. I find that it can really help. So think about a list of like 4 or 5 things that you wanna get done in your practice session rather than thinking about, I'm gonna practice for 2 hours. I know it sounds cool to practice for 2 hours or 3 hours straight, but it's not cool when you get done and you haven't gotten anything done. It's a lot better to be like, oh, I've gotten these 4 or 5 things done, and tomorrow I'm gonna get another 5 things done. Going back to my second thing, I think that night before when you're blocking things off in your calendar and writing when you're gonna eat, when you're gonna practice, I find it also helpful to write down those 3, 4, or 5 things that you're going to practice during that time. This allows you to not have to think about it the day of. This gets it done the night before, and then the next day, you're just going and doing. It's all about doing rather than thinking. The fourth thing I do every day to stay productive is I set up my practice room to enable me to be productive. I find that having the right things around me while I'm practicing prohibits me from having to get up and get my phone or get my water, get some reeds. Having all that stuff next to me enables me to sit in my chair and get things done. This includes setting your phone up in a way that allows you to be successful in a practice room. I know some people don't like to have their phone on their stand or any electronics. However, I use an iPad, so even if I don't have my phone, those things are still gonna pop up. That's why I like to use a practice focus mode. You can set different focus modes and settings. It's like do not disturb, but you can customize what you want. So when I'm in my practice focus mode, it allows me to be in do not disturb and only get messages from certain people that are important or calls. It allows me to just focus up and get things done. But like I said, I like to have minimal things on my stand while I'm practicing. That includes my iPad, my phone sometimes, but I really like to set that on the piano so that I'm not even thinking about it. I like to get all the things out of my pockets just so my saxophone's not hitting it or whatever. I just like to have a distraction-free space. This might also include turning your chair and stand away from the window so that you're not looking out all the time. People walking by can be distractions, and I know I like to talk to people. People like to come into my practice room, so if you're turned away, it keeps you busy and focused on what you're doing. Alright, so the fifth and final thing that I do, and that I've already said in my previous video, is that I like to take one day off each week. This allows for my face to rest and heal. I usually like to do this on Saturday so that I can go home and have fun and not have to think about the saxophone. Thinking about practicing is not something that you want to be doing all the time, and so Saturday and for half of Sunday, whenever I'm going to practice on Sunday, usually in the evenings, I cannot think about practicing or music school or anything to do with being a student. Like I said, Saturdays are to go have fun and hang out with friends and enjoy life outside of just being a music student, because it can get very tedious and day after day after day, it really grinds you down. So taking these Saturdays off will allow you to have longevity throughout the semester, and so that when you do get to summer, you're not just like, oh, I don't want to play saxophone another day, and you end up taking the whole summer off. You don't want to. You want longevity, and so taking off those Saturdays can be really helpful. So that's all I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this video because I really liked making it. Please leave a like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Remember, life's all about balance, so I hope these 5 things can help you achieve that balance. I will see you next time. Peace.